already opened a 9-room hotel in Italy and worked for 2 important companies such as Automobili Pininfarina and Palermo Football Club, with international experience between the UK, Australia, and Malaysia. He will be discussing today strategic management and productivity. So Riccardo, welcome. Glad to have another Hult member in the Masterclass initiative. And with no further ado, the audience is yours.
Thank you, Vanessa. It's my pleasure. My pleasure to be here live telling my experiences around the globe, and I look forward to to talk about my experience, to talk about what I did with you.
Excellent. You can go ahead. Can you share your screen so we can see your slides?
I prepared some slides talking about strategic management and productivity. I'm gonna share them right now. As you can see, this is my resume. As you told, I've been working around the globe. I'm 23 years old. My experience started 4 years ago in the UK, studying business management at Coventry University in England. I don't love too much theories. My kinesthetic model is more like practical. I prefer to learn by doing. So I opened my first business 4 years ago, a small hotel, then expanded to a 9-room hotel in Sicily, my hometown, basically in the beach part of Palermo. Thanks to this experience, I get in touch with Automobili Pininfarina, a famous Italian brand, who offered me the opportunity to do a 6-month internship in the digital marketing team. Then I won a scholarship with Coventry University to do a semester abroad in Australia and Melbourne. Then, as you can see in the fourth picture, I went to Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur to do an internship there. So my first work experience overseas. At the end of this experience, I came back to the UK. I graduated with a first, so the maximum of the grade. And I got in touch with the president of Palermo Football Club, who offered me a job. I basically been working there for 6 months in my hometown, working for the team I always supported since I was a child. So it's been something amazing for me. And then at the end of this experience, where it was the junior commercial of Palermo Calcio, I jumped to Dubai to do this 1-year master in international business. Today,
right,
my skills developed during this experience are more related about marketing, like SEO, SEM, advertising, marketing campaign, as I've been working in the marketing team of Automobili Pininfarina. Growth strategy, both developed during the experience in Pininfarina, but as well with Aerospace Jobs Asia, that was the company I work for in Malaysia, and Palermo Football Club, but also strategic management and productivity, which are the topic we are going to talk today. I want to
Riccardo, can you try to set the slides, sorry to interrupt you, to full screen so our audience can have a better view, please?
Like that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
This is my business. The first business I started is, as you can see in the first picture, this is Mondello, so the sea part of Palermo in Sicily. I opened this little hotel, 9-room hotel, taking a loan, and then expanded after the first revenues, basically by renting an apartment, renovating it, and implementing digital strategy to have a competitive advantage compared to the other hotels where I am. The visibility to this hotel is given by the online portal, so like Booking.com, Expedia, Trivago, etc. But especially because they take commissions, they take like 16%, 17% of every reservation. I created my own e-commerce. You can see it here, www.mondellobeachrooms.com. And through Google Ads and social media contents, I sponsor basically, and also some influencer collaboration. I sponsored this website to have like the most
what took you, Riccardo, what took you to the idea to rent an apartment, renovating it, so you are actually leasing the place that you lease to the tourists, and rent all these 3 rooms within the apartment and make it a hotel, a little bit a mix between a hotel and an Airbnb? It's what I get the feeling of. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure. It's not an Airbnb because, usually Airbnb is when you live there and you give part of your apartment for rent. It's more like I would say a 3-star hotel.
Okay.
Basically, I always love my country, my hometown. I always love tourism, traveling, and this stuff. And I was studying in the UK. I was studying management. So as I told you, I prefer to do like more practical stuff. So
Okay.
I was trying to find something, to find a business, an
Okay.
idea. And in that period, like a friend told me, oh, there is an empty apartment, because in this building, you can see in the first picture, there are like
Okay.
many offices, business, wherever,
Yes.
and also some private apartments. And they told me the fourth floor is gonna get empty in some months. So I thought, where there is a big floor in that building in front of the beach, what can I do? I tried to understand if I could get a loan from the bank. I did it, and with that
Okay.
money, basically rent the apartment and like destroy the apartment, creating into the same floor, so in the fourth floor,
Mm.
creating a little hotel. And then
Okay.
after 2 years, I also took the third floor in the same way, expanding in the business.
Okay. So you span within the same building to different apartments.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Will
We
that
rent
be correct?
as you can see in our website, we rent room for daily, like every
Yeah.
other, and we used to sell them through the portals and also through our private e-commerce.
Great. I think it's a very interesting idea. I have never heard for someone doing such a thing, because normally either you have a small house that either if it's rented or for your own, you prepare it to do it, but you are renting an apartment in a building that has other businesses or other enterprises or maybe other people living. And you took it and transformed it into a hotel that have been growing up. It's very interesting. How many apartments have you take over on the building for this endeavor?
Basically, in the building, I took a total of 3.5 apartments, and like
Okay.
destroying them, I creating to the same floor 9 rooms with their own toilet in a big corridors. So they have
Okay.
their own rooms, and I rent rooms. So no, I don't rent
Okay.
the single room.
Okay. Okay.
I
And a
developed
person
facility. Yeah.
can rent just a room and have other people in the same apartment with other
No,
rooms rented, and they don't know each other.
totally, during the renovation, it totally destroyed the old apartment. So there are no like common walls. There is like only a common area, which is the hall,
Oh,
where they have
okay.
coffee and other stuff. But there is a corridor, and they have their own, like there is a main entrance, and then they have their own room. They don't share anything. It's not like an apartment.
Okay, perfect. I'll let you continue.
Yeah, sure. I decided to start this, strategic management and startups journey today, talking about startup, because I think it's good to have a good like perspective of how strategic management can change if you are in a corporation, if you are in a startup. What is a startup? I think is like a company or project undertaken by an entrepreneur to develop something new in a scalable economy model. There are two types of startup, like a new business idea, how could be my business when I open it, or a spin-off, like a sub company of another business. This logo you see here, this like
Mhm.
F is the logo of Pininfarina, the famous Italian brand who created automobile. They basically, before, like in the history, they developed the design of Ferrari. Then after
Mhm.
6 years, they decided to create their own brand, their own hypercar, and so they did an electric hypercar creating Automobili Pininfarina, so the sub brand of the Pininfarina who only did design before.
Okay.
Wherever you are in a startup, like in a new idea or in a spin-off, so in a sub company, you will have something in common. So experimenting is better than planning. Work is measured on results and not in time. Like you can even work 1 hour per day in a startup if you are able to get the results in the tower, help each others, and don't compete between employees. And also the curiosity and innovation is something really important in a startup in strategic and management process. So these are my experiences. Basically, I work as marketing intern in Automobili Pininfarina, as I said. We were like 10 employees when we started, but was kind of weird because it was the son of was a sub company of Pininfarina who make like millions per year. So we had a millionaire budget, even if we only were 10 people. Then I worked in Malaysia, and the environment was totally different. different because, as you can imagine, to work in Europe or work in Malaysia, confront with people totally different culture from you. And at the end, I worked for Palermo Football Club as commercial union manager. It was more formal as environment, like was because it's one of the most famous football club in Italy, in a big city with a lot of supporters. So I for example, I had to go to the office with a shirt because there were like the TV cameras or the journalists when I left the office. So it was not like a startup environment, but it was amazing because I developed an amazing network during that experience, and I was a supporter of Palermo Football Club, so it was amazing for me to work for the team I've always support.
Your heart was in the job, definitely.
But what is strategic management? Is basically the ongoing planning, monitoring, analysis, and assessment of all necessities, like both for organization or startup, and changes in business environments will require organization to constantly assess their strategy for success. We will talk more about this now. Like, why is important? Because it provides a direction. Before you start working, before you start managing a business, you have to know what's your strategy, what you're gonna do, what is like your schedule, if you have like different steps, if you have short-term or long-term goals, who must do what. And because also it's important because allows you to gain competitive advantage with the competitors, shows you the right direction, and also helps companies to be proactive, and I would add also to make money. It guides the company to prepare and face the challenges because you already know, like if you are properly good on doing strategic management, you already know what you are going to face, and so also what the challenges could be. So I think it basically plays a really important role in decision making, and last but not least, helps business in development and success. The first step of strategic management is the formulation. We have to understand the strategy we want to have internally and externally. So we have to understand where are the internal and external factors, like both basically the stakeholders and what they want. Like internal stakeholders could be the employees, the needs of the employees, and also the shareholders who put the money, while external factors will be the political and legal and economical environment. So you have to do a pestle analysis, understand this stuff in this step. Then you have the implementation and then controlling. This part, like this process, is divided in some part. The first part is defining strategy intent. So it's defining a vision, then designing a mission, and setting objectives. As I said, short-term and long-term goals. The second part is formulation, so performing environmental and organizational appraisal. We have to consider strategy, and making strategy, preparing a strategic plan that could work both for the short-term and the long-term goals. The third part is implementation, so putting those strategy in practice. You have to be good to understand who will do what. For example, as we are like a seasonal business, my little hotel, we work basically, because we are in front of the beach, we work basically from Easter, so from April to the end of September, October. But I work some months from abroad because I live in Dubai. Actually, I was living in the UK before, and I'm in Italy only for 3 months, only during summer when I don't study basically. So something important in strategy is to delegate, to understand who do what, to choose the right person, the right people that they have to work with you, and you have to understand if those people are they fit in the task you want to give them. The fourth part is evaluation. Yeah, sure.
Yes, I have a question because, of course, as you say, your functioning, the hotel is seasonal, and you are renting the place. So what do you do with the space when you have, let's say, a dead season?
No, we are seasonal. I was talking seasonal because 80% of the revenue comes from that period. But we always open, for example, now there is a lockdown in Italy, but we already have some reservation during Christmas, during New Year's Eve. So we are always open. We don't have tourists,
Okay.
but in the previous year, there are like employees from other company, like workers who come to work in the city. So we are still
Okay,
open.
so you have certain influx to keep it open, which is good.
Yeah.
But your as you say, the most important part of your revenue will come from summertime.
Yeah, summertime, because we are in front of the beach. But I think as an hotel, you have to be always open, and I think this is a big mistake that hotels do. That some of them close during like winter, because okay, sometimes like you could even lose some money,
Yeah.
but you have to give service to the customer. The customers must, trust you, and they have to
Yes.
know whenever they call you, you are available to give them a room if you're not full, of course.
Yeah. Yes, and of course, it's not the same operational cost to have a small place that maybe you can manage to happen open all the time, that having a big structure that, in this particular economy, considering quarantines and all of this, a small business have a lot of wave, because maybe they don't have the cash flow that a big business could have, but they have the possibility to adapt faster than a big company. So that will help you too.
Definitely. The last part, is the business longevity. In strategic management, you have to understand how to improve the business longevity. So you have basically to make changes, because the market always changes. So the my target clients now maybe is not the same of the target I had 4 years ago for my business when I opened it, and for sure it's not gonna be the same. They will be in 4 years, because market changes so fast, especially in tourism. So we have to understand like the trends and try to propose like a new offers to those specific new targets. Strategic management improves non-financial factors as well, because I think it can improve like definitely the way people work together. Because if they have a strategy, they know what to do, they know the short-term and long-term goals. So I think it definitely improve also the way they live the job, like the way they go to the office, for example. And if they are more organized, if they know what they have to do, they usually perform better. And financial factor, of course, because if you have task, if you have a strategy, you can make more profit basically. Let's talk about productivity. Now I'm gonna be slightly more specific, because what is productivity? We know productivity is the measure of efficiency of a person, like completing the task this person has got. And we often assume that means getting more things in day, but it's totally wrong, because it means getting important things done consistently. So you have to be consistent. You don't have to do like 1,000 tasks per day, but you have to do the task you have to do to achieve the short-term goals that will bring you then to the long-term goals. Some tips,
It
like,
comes a little bit of prioritization.
yeah,
And also, it's like they say, it's not the same being busy that doing something productive.
exactly, many things. And you will see now in some these theories, like Pareto's law says that 80% of the results are determined by the 20% of the activities. So you have to focus not in all the activities. You have to give the best in those activities. They will bring you results. So you don't have to like just work, but you have to work where you need to work to achieve the results. Another theory is the Parkinson law, that basically say the more time you have, the more you will waste. So sometimes especially during my academics career, I used to, like, if I have a month, for example, to do an essay, to do an assignment, I used to put a fake shorter deadline, because it helps me to be more motivated and then so far being more productive. Some tips for this are like avoid distractions, plan short-term and long-term goals. As I said, I think my life totally changed since when I started basically put my goals on, like having a calendar, know what to do both for the work but also for the academic career. And new notification, because we live like in the second generation of social media. I remember when I was young, like I was 15, I use Facebook, and I decided when to go online. Basically, I said, okay, now I have 2 hours free, so I go to the social media. I go to the internet to use Facebook or wherever. Now they call us. It's Facebook that with notification decides when we have to use it, so we have to take care of it. And I have, before I finish this PowerPoint, I have five website, 5 apps will be really, really important for productivity. The first one is Icon Finder. It's basically the best website to use to get PNG, to get icons. And so wherever PowerPoint you're doing, if you're doing, and say if you're doing something for your website, some of the icons from Icon Finder are the icons that are on my website that I developed on mondellobeachrooms.com. So it's an amazing website. You have like millions of icons for free. The second one is Remove Background. I strongly advise you to use this website. It's removebackground.com. Basically, I don't have to say anything because the PowerPoints talk for itself. Because as you can see from this picture, you just put the picture of a person, of an animal, whatever, and the systems understand what's the background and will remove it like in 5 seconds, giving you a PNG. We know background. The third one is Zamzam Converter. I don't know how I survived like 2 years ago when I didn't know this website. If you have to convert a PDF to Word or an iPhone picture, which is an 8.8 to a PNG or wherever, it definitely helps you to do it in 5 seconds. For students especially, it's really important. The fourth one is
that one is for free. Samsar is for
all,
free as
all,
well.
all of them are for free. All of them.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I could use that one.
Yeah, you should. Even Mojo, like this is not totally free. It's called freemium. When
Okay.
but then if you want the best version of it, like we know,
You have to pay.
Yeah, you have to pay. But some of the layouts are free. They make Insta stories and generical video infographics. It's really important.
Okay.
I think that if you want to build yourself, I think you have to build also the personal branding. If you want to be a marketer, for example. When I was working in Malaysia, an HR girl told me from GKN like automotive and aerospace stuff. So
Okay.
it's a big company. They make millions. And she told me that wherever like employee they have to to an interview, before the interview they looked for him on social media and on the first 5 pages of Google. If they found something bad about this guy or this girl, they don't hire. But as well, if they don't find anything, like if
They don't hire him as well.
Yeah, it's even worse sometimes to do not find anything than to find something.
But that's particularly it depends of what you're looking for. But for example, there's people that it's quite private with their social media. I particularly have a personal Instagram, and I'm considering opening kind of like public Instagram for terms of the professional branding, because I don't want people to see the pictures of my niece and my nephews, just around the world, people that I don't know, and I don't know why will they use them for. So it's a very good, it's very interesting what you say, because of course it will be dumb to think that companies are not looking you into social media to see what you have and what you have published. That reflects part of who you are and your personality. But I think it's you're taking to detriment to people that decides to be more private.
Sure, it depends.
So to speak.
Like, so what job, like what kind of person you wanna be, like what role you wanna have. I think if you wanna be, for example, a marketer, so you wanna, say something basically, and you don't have a good Instagram account. If I was a company, I would say, okay, but how can you sell my product if you're not able to sell yourself? So it depends what you wanna be and what role you're applying for.
Well, that makes sense because I'm mostly in operations. So, you know, it makes sense if you're a marketer, of course, you have to, it shows because it should be part of your personality in a certain way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's basically a soft skills you have to. It shows a part of your soft skills, I think. And the last activity tool is Canva. I think like most of the people know it, but some of them don't know it. It's really, really, really good. Basically, it's a tool that allows you to create really high level images and logos. I did create, for example, the logo of I have a club at Hult Business School, Network Business Club. We like weekly have special guests from like senior managers to talk to the university or business school to the students. And the logo is made with this. I also have another Instagram page called the ULID, where we help basically the students from my regions, so from Sicily, to apply for university to an internship, like to do the career I'm doing. And also it's not just me, it's also another guy from Google, another guy from London School of Economics, and all the graphics we do are from Canva. So I think it's really, really amazing to get a free layout. This is totally free. I mean, it's also freemium. Like if you want to have some layouts, you have to pay, but most of them are free, like 95%. And with
it's a really great tool.
Yeah, it gives you basically gives you a word, and you can be, I don't want to say like graphic designer, like, you know, but
it helps you out when you don't have a graphic designer to look very professional, I will say.
A big startup is really, really useful. And that's all. I finished my slides. I'm super open to have questions or whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna take a commercial break, so we let people prepare their questions, and we'll be back, and we have the Q&A session then.
Okay.
Thank you, Riccardo.
You're welcome.
So we're back with the questions. The first question I have for you, Riccardo, is what do you see, or what's the difference that you can perceive between strategic management and traditional management? You have had the opportunity to work for yourself on your hotel. Then you have the opportunity to work for an entrepreneurship, which was with Pininfarina. That was a very particular one because it has a multi-million-dollar budget, which normally doesn't happen, but still a great opportunity. And then to work for big companies that are more established. So what do you see is the principal difference between traditional management, strategic management, and why strategic management is so important nowadays?
Okay, I think it depends like in what company you're working. And I think the main difference that strategic management is more scheduled and is more, it fits more with something digital. Like if you are in a new business, in a startup, or in a business that works digitally in some way, it's better that you approach a strategic management process instead of a traditional one. And also if you're working in a business with a matrix organizational structure, because matrix organizational structure perfectly fits with strategic management process, while for example the traditional one is more related like with a pyramidal organizational structure. So it basically depends what we're working with. And I don't want to say strategic management process is the best way always, but in most of the case it is.
Yeah, I have had the opportunity to work also in entrepreneurship and in traditional companies, and I will say that both has their benefits. And when you have a pyramidal structure, and the thing is that the decision making, it's completely different when you have a matrix, and it's easier to implement strategic management within a matrix organization than within a traditional structure.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I have a question. So
Go ahead, Madeleine.
When you, what do you think? We have different structure. Some are large and more traditional, and then a small structure. If it comes to a startup that needs to watch the wallet, I mean, they don't have millions. I think then a small structure will be better. Or what is your opinion about that in a long-term basis?
I think there is not like an official or a right answer, because when you're a startup, you know, maybe the first object must be to survive, to scale the market.
Yeah.
So sometimes making smaller strategies could be better, but in the long term, I think strategic management process will be the answer, even for a startup in the long term. Maybe in short term goals, no. It's better to be smoothly, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. With your entrepreneurship with Mandela Beach rooms, what have you kind of encountered or learned about strategic management that you didn't know when you started? What has been the process there? I think that your experience with that, it's very interesting for anyone that wants to start a new business, especially now. And as you were saying, the importance of the entrepreneurship is for you to be able to continue, so that the company goes until you reach a point of equilibrium. So what have you learned within the process of making money operational?
Okay, I think I lost you. I mean, I lost you for some seconds, but I think I got your question. During my experience with my business, you know, I'm still young, so I didn't have any previous work experience before Mandela Beach Rooms. It has been my first real experience. And I did decide to apply a strategic management process from the second year, because the first year I didn't know enough about it, and I didn't know how to manage that type of business, also to manage the employees. But then I did, because especially when you live abroad, so when you live in another country, like not the country of your business, I think it's the best way, because it really helps you to be fast and smooth. So when you don't work daily with employees and you manage them from another country with a different time, you know, because now in Italy 3 p.m. for example. So yeah, that's the best way, and that's what I learned was that delegating is not easy, but if you do it with strategic management process, it can be easier.
Yeah, I will add to that strategic management gives you agility, and if you have the right people, the delegation is easier, because when you have a strategic management in a matrix organization, especially as you say, if you are living abroad or in a different place of the business, the person that is taking the decisions on site has certain liberties that normally someone else in a traditional management structure wouldn't have. So that gives you the opportunity that maybe the decision wasn't the right one, but you can correct it so much faster than in a traditional management environment.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a question from Mukai Shona from Facebook. He says, As an early entrepreneur, what advice would you give to a business person who continuously is experiencing losses?
I would say like can be maybe, you know, something obvious, but I would say to keep trying again, because maybe your idea was correct, but was not the right time, or maybe you didn't have a good network, or maybe you didn't have like, you know, there is a component of lucky when you do a business, of luck. So it's not always your fault. So maybe you have to change perspective, trying to understand, okay, why the customers don't want this product, don't want this service, or whatever it is. And but also you have to keep going, maybe changing idea, maybe studying more the market, like doing more analysis of competitors of the market, more market research. But like if I have to say the final answer in like in one sentence is just keep going.
I will add to that maybe the idea is correct, but the implementation wasn't the best one. So it's when you have losses, you have to go and see why the losses are happening. It's because people is not budgeting, it's because we're delivering late and people is returning. There is a lot of things to analyze, and I will share your advice of keep going. Maybe you are in the right path, but you have to change the idea. It had happens. I have seen it. I have seen entrepreneurs changing a project 3 times until they finally get the company going. So it is important to analyze why are you losing money and how much money are you losing. And sometimes don't try to see it in an objective way, because when people is entrepreneur, you are very tied emotionally to the project. And sometimes you have to cut chases and cut the ties and actually take a financial decision without that meaning stop being an entrepreneur or stop developing the project. Just have to look for a different perspective.
Exactly. That's why I was saying change perspective, because when we analyze ourselves and what we did, we are not too objective. So if you change perspective, if you study more, analyze more the market, analyze more your mistake, and also the perspective of the final clients, which are the like basically they have the answer, you know. they are always right because they pay for the product, so you have to understand that.
Yeah, that's I remember I had a class once and a professor said that every entrepreneur dies believing that everybody wants its product, and because you find it fantastic, otherwise you wouldn't do it, and that's necessary, but they can be blind by it. You have to analyze the market, as you were saying. Talking about your experience between the entrepreneurial world and the companies that are big companies, what do you think about introducing entrepreneurship styles or entrepreneurship concepts into big companies, such as maybe a lean startup? Maybe you don't do it in the whole company, but in certain departments, or the capacity to adjust planning, because as we were talking before, traditional planning, it's more steady, while strategic management has the opportunity to iterate and change and evolve faster. Do you think that's an opportunity? Do you see it possible in your experience?
No, but I didn't get the question because I lost you for a second. Can you say again? Like I got the final part.
Oh, sorry.
Question.
Okay, I will repeat. What do you think about introducing entrepreneurship concepts into big companies, such as lean startup, or the capacity to adjust planning? Because in traditional companies, the planning goes more steady. So this is a plan, it's a plan to 5 years, and we're gonna follow it. While in strategic management, you make your evaluations more constant and you adjust your direction in a faster pace.
Okay. I haven't worked yet in a corporation, and I don't know if I will ever do, because I prefer like startup environments. But I have some friends that they do, And I know that in Google they are doing, like, in some department, not in every department, they are introducing more this kind, like, innovation style. And I think will work, especially in an environment like Google, maybe like where it's, not too formal, it's kind of lean. Why maybe it couldn't work, for example, in a bank or in finance or in KPMG, this type of environment. So it basically depends where you are working in. It will work in some departments of some big corporations, but not in every corporation, I think.
Yeah, and maybe not all the corporation like Google is doing in certain departments.
Yeah.
I have another question from Facebook. It says, it's from Lamidi Barki. Did you think it's advisable to consult entrepreneur specialists before starting any new business, most especially in an e-commerce business?
It is, but when you are a startup, maybe you don't have that money to talk with specialists because they require an investment. So it depends. If you have a big budget, yes, especially in e-commerce. But if you don't, I don't think it's a must. So you can even develop a good business with a no low budget, but with an average budget, and spend that part of the budget in, like, digitalizing your business or in highest quality of suppliers or whatever. So it could help, but so it is advisable to answer to the question, but it's not a must.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you have the budget, you certainly should do it, especially if you don't have a lot of information in certain areas. But also for the people that does not have the budget, especially nowadays with the pandemic and the quarantine, there is a lot of certain businesses that are doing free workshops or webinars where you can have a lot of information. And of course, their aim or their objective is that you like so much the information that you hire them later. But if you don't have the budget, you are going to gather enough information for you to do. I did actually, it was a challenge from Digital Marketer last month, which was very interesting. I'm not in marketing, but you have to understand all these things right now. And I think that's also a good way to go if you don't have the budget to hire the consultant. Let me check, because I think I have another question on the chat. Yes, I have Willa Wise. How is branding important to a startup entrepreneur? Also from Facebook.
I think it's like 90% of the job, because when you are a startup, people don't know you, and this means that they don't trust you. They don't want to buy your product most of the time. So you have to build a branding strategy where, like, people got confident on what you do, and like they have to. It depends also what's the product, what the service you're offering, but they have to get accustomed with you as much as they do with Amazon, for example. Because probably the same product you are selling on your e-commerce as a startup, Amazon is available on Amazon. So you have to make them trust you, and branding, so marketing, is the answer in this way. So I think it's really, really important, especially
Yeah, and I also think that, yeah, it's one of the first steps you have to make. And it's also important for people to understand that you don't build awareness from one day to another. Yeah. It's a constant job when you're doing digital marketing, because some people think, oh, I want to do something and make it viral, but viral, it's only gonna last a few hours or a few days. So you have to build into being constant so people can learn to trust you. In terms of productivity, I love the term, and right now there is a lot of people, a lot of self-made gurus about productivity. We talk about the Pareto law, which is a classic one. Which productivity tools or activities do you use to have a great day? Like you're mentioning that having a calendar help you and kind of change your day. How do you manage that calendar to kind of give an idea for those that are considering being an entrepreneur, how to do it?
It depends how big is your team. For example, we use Google Calendar, now, but previously, last year we used Asana, which is an app.
Okay.
So it depends how big is your team. In my hotel there are only 4 employees, so it's kind of easy. Plus my sister, so it's kind of easy to manage them. Maybe if you have 40 employees, Google Calendar is not the best way. But what I would say is to give them task and feedback daily. So daily they have to talk with you because you are the boss. You are the owner of the brand, and they have to understand daily what they have to do. The task must be super clear, and you have to motivate them. And then after they did the job, you have to give them some feedback, both motivating them, like saying, okay, you did a good job, well done, both saying you have to improve this next time, do this task in this different way if needed. Sorry, I can't hear you. I think the microphone is off.
Yeah, I'm connecting my phone because I'm going low on battery. So as productivity goes, one thing is productivity, like organization, seen from this perspective of organizing the activities of the company. But what about personal productivity, which also affects the productivity of your company? Have you learned or seen anything about these trends about like waking up at 5 a.m., the 5 a.m. club, or if you do exercise and all these things that affect us as human beings and having a balanced life?
Well, there is a Latin quote that says healthy mind in a healthy body. So I try to do sports at least 3 times per week, usually 3 times to the gym, and then like a football match, or sometimes I do experiences like skydiving, something weird that keeps me alive. And I think it's definitely affect the way I live my life. So then it therefore affects productivity. And talking about specifically about productivity, I think it's really important to be organized, especially if you have not only to live your life, but to organize the life of other people that work for you. And so I literally know like what are my goals for tomorrow, like to pass an exam, for example, but also the goal for 2022. So some people that I know, they used to like improve their productivity with some apps on the phone. I simply use the notes on the phone and pages for the laptop. So that's what I do. I think I'm definitely super organized because I know my goals, and I basically fix the goals. Firstly, the long-term goals. Like I wanna, if I have to expand the business to 15 rooms in 2023, I fit that goal. I fix that goal, and then I fix the previous goal to achieve the big one. So I think you have to firstly put the long-term goals, and then based on what you want to achieve, fix the monthly goals and then the daily goals.
Yeah, it's kind of going backwards. You have the big goal, what you want to achieve, and then you go deep and down. What do I need to do or to achieve so I can reach my big goal? And then say, well, I have to do this or that, and I need to do it in 3 months, 6 months, or whatever time frame that you have.
That is really important to have a routine, not boring routine, but like to wake up and like enter in a mode where you know what you have to do. Of course, you have to like what you're gonna do, because if you don't like it, it's really bad to have a routine like waiting for the weekend just to be happy. But if you have a routine that you like, it's gonna definitely improve your results.
Yes, that's great. In terms of marketing, and you were talking earlier about knowing the trends and everything that is changing within the time that you have had your business, all your experience. What will be the advice about strategies and how to be mindful about the strategies in digital marketing, because there is tons of them. Some are very consistent that have worked for a long time. Some have stopped working a little bit. Of course, we live in a very fast pace right now, because someday we have Instagram and everybody's doing things on Instagram, and then within 3 months it's gonna come a new app that nobody knows about, and it's gonna change a little bit the market. What will be your advice for someone to actually focus on how to focus in which strategies to use? Because of course, every company is different, every idea is different, but you cannot be doing 10 digital strategies at the same time, because you're gonna lose energy into that.
Only studying, because I think that to do branding, you have to focus, especially if you are a small team, you have to focus on one thing, maximum two, maybe then change it, but like you cannot manage, if you, for example, if you wanna run an e-commerce, open a new e-commerce, you cannot open a Facebook page, an Instagram page, a TikTok account, a LinkedIn account, because then it's gonna be, because there are two answers. Or you do it with no diversification, so publishing the same contents on all the social media, but doesn't make sense. Or you don't have enough energy and like enough time to manage in the best way every account. So I would say to focus on the social media that most fit with what your customers are. So maybe if you are selling something to, I don't know, from people to 15 to 18 years old, right now you don't have to open an Instagram account, you have to open TikTok probably. So it depends. You have to study to understand what your target is, and to study what your target wants and where they want to sit. So some, people say that Facebook is dying, but I don't think it's dying. I think they basically the target is just
it has changed the population, the target.
Marketing, yes. I think, is the fastest topic that exists. So you have to basically study daily, understand where your target is, and work to get the specific target.
Yes, that's very interesting, and I think that's a great advice. Choose your target, be very clear what your target is, and use the channel according to your target, because then you have what you're saying. Either you are setting aside all the same information to every channel, which makes no sense, or you didn't have the time and energy, and you will do all marketing and not growing your business. So digital marketing is important to grow your business, but it's not the only thing to grow your business. It's really important.
I'm gonna add something.
Let me check.
About
yes,
it,
please.
I think, for example, when I was working for Automobili Pininfarina, we made it was a one product company, so we developed a car which cost 2.5 million, so a really high target car, and people said that we couldn't sell cars on Instagram or in general on digital, online. When you sell a car, basically the investment, apart from the investment to
build the car,
like paying and build it, is also like you usually make an events with rich people where you pay 100,000 euro to just organize the events and pay, everything, the catering, everything. While with Automobili Pininfarina, we decided to invest on social media, invest on Instagram specifically, so in one account. Then we also had like other corporate accounts, but the accounts where we did advertising, where we did collaboration, where we did real content to sell the car was on Instagram. People said that like rich people don't buy a car on Instagram, but they did. So instead of invest like 100,000 in an event where you usually sell 1/2 cars, we invest like 10,000, so 10 times less, in Instagram with advertising, like to reach the proper people. And I can say that a famous former basketball player bought the car through Instagram, so it worked,
Wow.
So you have to understand where the target is and go for it.
Yes, I think that's a great story, Riccardo, and thank you for sharing it. I think it's very important, as you say, it all starts with your objective, with your target, who is your customer. If you understand that, you are going to be able to do things as selling a car on Instagram that maybe nobody thought it was doable. And when you are in the entrepreneurship world, you have to think differently, because if you are going to do something new, whether it is a new idea or a sub company or an idea that comes from another already existing, you are gonna want to start with a new concept. Otherwise, it's doing the same thing. If you're gonna do the same thing, you use the same strategies. If you're doing something completely new, well, probably you will need something completely new to achieve your goal and to achieve your results. We're gonna go for a short commercial break now, and we're gonna be back for the closing unless I receive any more questions. And we'll be back very soon.
Okay, see you soon.
Facilitates resources and learnings to be incorporated into the Masterclass initiative to enable rapid growth and wider participation reach. As a recipient of quality international and globally recognized education, I believe good education should be a basic human right, not a privilege for the few. For in the absence of knowledge, a people, innovation, and opportunities will surely perish.
Well, we're back. I want to thank the audience for their questions. They were great. I want to thank you, Riccardo, for your time and sharing with us your experience and your ideas. Do you wanna add anything more? You want to share anything more with us?
No, I just want to say I'm super available if you have any question. If you want to add me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, wherever you want. And
perfect. That will be my next question. So if the audience want to contact Riccardo and follow him to see what he's doing or have any more follow-up questions, you can do it on Instagram or on LinkedIn, as he has previously said. I really want to thank you. I think it was a very interesting session. I'm really sure that great value has been delivered and that people will be thinking and planning over the things that we have discussed today. Please feel free to connect with us also and follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and all our social media so you can be updated of our new sessions. On Masterclass Initiative, we always welcome your suggestions and feedback to topics and see how we can deliver them to them. I'm really looking forward to see you in the future. This will be my last session for this year, so Merry Christmas to everyone that is following to us. Masterclass Initiative will be continue having other sessions for the rest of the year. But all my best wishes for you, your family, and we will continue in our mission to fostering a global community of enlightened individuals and bringing to you really important content to develop yourself and improve education worldwide. Well, thank you very much. Goodbye. Goodbye, Riccardo. Thank you for your time. And just don't disconnect just yet. We are going to have some music. I think we're back. Where's the music?
Leave me today, I go cry you a river. Hey. No be today, your body they give me fever. I go love you, no stopping. We steady celebrating champagne Bobby. Oh baby, no time to the shake time. Cause now you are the way to. And if you waste time, you go this time. Cause no time to waste. Oh. Baby, I love you. Make you let your people know. Hey, I no go ever let you go.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Riccardo. Vanessa, to you, happy Christmas, enjoy, and hope to see you next year. Otherwise, everybody, hope to see you next Saturday on the Masterclass Africunia TV. Thank you very much and have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Madeleine. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. See you next time.
Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you, Riccardo, for your time. It was a great session. Really great one. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy it too.
Me too, me too. See you, my player.
Bye-bye.
Stop to bring us into her. Stop selling a mina country. Stop supporting the bad politics. Stop telling us your story about democracy. Because all we want is our freedom. Yeah. Africa wants to deal with responsibility. We want our freedom. We want our freedom. Yeah. We want our freedom. Africa, we want our freedom, yeah, yeah. We want to live independently, to create ourselves independently, yeah. If that's not possible, we will populate your continent. If it is the contrary, we will continue to come here, yeah. Spend the day in the desert on the ship, and you will continue to treat us like no paper. That's why I'm saying we want our freedom here, yeah. Stop to refuse us, to reject us, to deport us, yeah, yeah. We want our freedom. We want our freedom, yeah. We want our freedom, Africa. We want our freedom, yeah, yeah.
Africa, Africa, tosale lande kimya, totika kobunda, totika koswana, otozali banso bana tata moko, toyokana, tosalisana, tolingana, oh Africa.
Combien de mots reparlent par les mêmes phrases? Combien de temps l'Afrique sera toujours enfermée là? Pendant que les autres sont toujours en train d'avancer, nous sommes toujours en train de reculer. On veut liberté. We want our freedom. We want our freedom, yeah. We want our freedom, Africa. We want our freedom, yeah, yeah. Ce morceau est dédicacé à l'un des grands combattants africains, son honorable, le cher Thomas Sankara, qui s'est battu pour l'Afrique